It all started on a cold Tuesday morning when the world felt like it was rushing past him. Samuel Carter, a 33-year-old janitor and a single dad, was a man holding his life together with tired hands. He never expected anyone to look at him twice. Yet that morning, in a quiet hallway of the skyscraper he cleaned every night, he made a choice that changed everything. A choice so swift, so brave, that even he didn't fully realize the weight of it at the time. Because that was the morning Samuel stepped into a boardroom and saved the life of a billionaire woman he had never even met. And nothing about his world, or hers, would ever be the same. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment below. If you enjoy emotional, life-changing stories like this one, it helps our channel, your channel name, reach more people who need a little hope in their day. Samuel's morning had begun like any other. He woke up before dawn, prepared a quick breakfast for his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, and walked her to school with a warm cup of coffee in his hand. He smiled at her jokes, hid his worries, and reminded himself that love, not money, was the most important thing he could give her. The skyscraper where he worked felt intimidating every night. It was home to people whose clothes cost more than his monthly rent, people who talked fast, walked fast, and lived even faster. Samuel, with his mop, his gloves, and his quiet pride, stayed out of their way. He worked his shifts silently, grateful to have steady hours, even if it meant cleaning floors while everyone else went home to warm dinners. But that Tuesday was different. Around 6 a.m., long after the night crew had left and long before the first executives usually arrived, Samuel heard something strange. A soft thud, a weak gasp, a voice trying to call out and failing. He followed the sound into a boardroom. There, collapsed on the floor, was a woman in an expensive winter coat. Her face was pale, her breathing a ragged wheeze, and her lips were turning a frightening shade of blue. He recognized her instantly. Not because he had ever spoken to her, but because everyone in the building knew her name, Ariana Sterling, the billionaire CEO who owned half the companies inside the tower. Brilliant, powerful, untouchable. And in that moment, she looked nothing like her photos. She looked human, fragile, and fading. Samuel rushed to her side. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" he asked, his voice shaking. She couldn't respond. Her hands were gripping her throat, her chest heaving violently. Thanks to a basic first aid course the janitorial team had taken a year ago, Samuel recognized the terrifying signs instantly. This wasn't food choking. This was anaphylaxis, a severe, life-threatening allergic reaction that was closing her airways fast. She was losing consciousness. Samuel's panic rose like fire in his chest. "Where is it? Where do you keep it?" he muttered desperately. He knew that with an allergic reaction this severe, every second counted. Her body needed epinephrine, and it needed it now. He grabbed her expensive leather purse, dumping the contents onto the boardroom table. Makeup, keys, documents, and there, tucked inside a side pocket, was a small plastic case. An EpiPen. His hands shook as he uncapped the auto-injector, remembering his training, blue to the sky, orange to the thigh. "I'm sorry, ma'am, please hold on," Samuel whispered. With firm determination, he pressed the injector into her outer thigh, holding it down as the needle delivered the life-saving medicine. For a few agonizing seconds, nothing happened. The room was deathly quiet. Samuel quickly adjusted her positioning, tilting her head back slightly to keep her airway as open as possible. He grabbed his phone to call 911, but the storm outside had knocked out the building's signal. There was no reception. He was completely on his own. He knelt beside her, gently rubbing her shoulder, keeping his voice steady even though his heart was pounding. "Stay with me, Miss Sterling. Focus on my voice. Help is right here. Just breathe." Slowly, the epinephrine began to work its miracle. Ariana gasped, a deep, shuddering breath as her swollen airways finally opened up. The deep blue tint on her lips began to fade, replaced by a faint color. Her eyes slowly fluttered open, confused, terrified, but alive. Samuel leaned back slightly, exhaling a breath he felt he'd been holding for a lifetime. He wiped the sweat from his forehead with his sleeve. "You're okay," he said softly, giving her a reassuring smile. "You are going to be okay. Just rest." Ariana looked at him. Really looked. Through the haze of pain and fear, she saw a man in a janitor's uniform who had just saved her life without a second thought. She whispered a single, breathless word, "Why?" Samuel swallowed hard. "Because you needed help. And I was here." As soon as the cell signal flickered back on a few minutes later, Samuel called emergency services. Paramedics rushed into the building, stabilized her completely, and confirmed what Samuel already knew: without his quick thinking and immediate action with that EpiPen, she wouldn't have survived the morning. But Samuel didn't feel like a hero. As they wheeled her out, he felt awkward, out of place, and quietly went back to pick up his mop, wondering if his life would just go back to normal. The next night, when he arrived for his shift, his supervisor pulled him aside. "Miss Sterling wants to see you, Samuel." Samuel's stomach tightened. Even though he had saved her, he always felt uncomfortable around the powerful elites of the building. But when he stepped into the top-floor office, Ariana stood up slowly from her desk, looking healthier and oddly softer than the steel-cold business persona in her photos. "Samuel," she said, "please sit." He remained standing. "I wanted to thank you," she continued, her voice filled with genuine emotion. "The doctors told me that without your quick action, I wouldn't have made it." He nodded, unsure what to say. "But there is something I don't understand," she said gently. "Most people in this building won't even hold the elevator for someone they don't know. Yet you saved me, a stranger." Samuel looked down at his worn shoes. "Kindness doesn't require a reason," he said. "My daughter, she always tells me we're here on this earth to help each other. I try to live by that." Something in Ariana's expression softened. A glimmer of humanity showed behind the billionaire armor she had worn for years. She asked about his life, about Lily, and about why he worked such long hours. Samuel answered honestly, not complaining, not seeking pity, just sharing simple truths. He told her how he had been raising Lily alone since his wife passed away, how he worked nights so he could walk her to school every morning, and how he dreamed of giving her a better life but didn't know how. Ariana listened in silence. Then, she said something he would never forget: "Let me help." Samuel froze. "Ma'am, that's not necessary." "It's not charity," she insisted. "It's gratitude. And maybe it's time someone showed you the kindness you show everyone else." What followed felt like something out of a dream. Ariana arranged for Samuel to take daytime business courses, classes he had always wanted to take but never had the time or money for. She shifted his job to a higher-paying daytime position so he could sleep normal hours. She sponsored Lily's school programs. She even invited them both to weekend events, introducing them not as charity cases, but as friends. People whispered. A billionaire and a janitor? Impossible. But kindness made it possible. Over the next year, something gentle and unexpected began to grow between Samuel and Ariana. Not a whirlwind romance, but a slow, steady warmth. It was the kind of connection built on respect, gratitude, and the simple truth that sometimes the most unlikely people are exactly the ones we're meant to meet. One evening, as they watched Lily play in a park filled with autumn leaves, Ariana turned to him. "You saved my life," she said. "But you also changed it. I used to think power was everything. Now, I think kindness is." Samuel smiled softly. "Kindness is power." And in the golden quiet of that moment, their hands touched, not by accident, not by desperation, but by choice. A small, brave beginning. In the end, Samuel didn't just save a billionaire's life. He reminded her, and everyone who heard their story, that kindness is the strongest force we have. It doesn't matter how much money you make, what job you have, or what mistakes you've lived through. What matters is the heart you choose to show the world. And sometimes, one act of kindness can rewrite the future for two people who never expected to find each other. So go out today and spread a little kindness. You never know whose life, or heart, you might save.